In any fighting game, everyone has that one character that they have decided to focus on more than everyone else. And whether you like it or not, your character choice is an undeniable, foolproof indicator of not only how you play the game, but also what kind of person you are. And whether you're the type of guy who likes to give to the homeless on the street, or the type of person that steals candy from babies and then eats it in their face because you felt like it that day. Ladies and gents, my name is JohnnyTheFlash, and this is what your Guilty Gear Strive main says about you. Anji. Like the May and Ram players, you like big hitboxes on normals, but either you didn't want to be seen as a tier whore or you're a masochist that enjoys unnecessary levels of pain. You are discontent with how reactable Fujin Mix is and how risky many of your pressure options are, and rightfully so. You want to uninstall the game every time somebody jabs your spin parry and you get nothing off of it, as well as every time you get counter hit because you tried to use butterfly in neutral. Even though your character's probably bottom 3, you'll stick with him in the hopes that he'll be buffed, just so you can hear all of us start complaining about the absurd amount of damage this character actually does. You were a theater kid in high school. Axl Low. Unlike other fighting game zoner players, Axl mains are actually generally pretty nice guys with extensive matchup knowledge and a cool under pressure attitude. You are probably also a JoJo fan. You basically nut every time you get a successful Zawada setup and proceed to turn your opponent into a Twitter clip with Axl Bomber. You also enjoy holding a solid 80% of this game's total anti-airs, and you live and die by your ability to respond to an opponent's approach, as one misplaced anti-air button results in you getting scraped. Sickle Storm is usually a joke as anything but a reversal, but you do enjoy throwing it out once in a while and whiffing the first hit, hoping the opponent doesn't know about the second one and gets smacked. You are one of the only players that laughs as much as the Zato player, as your combos are pretty difficult to figure out. You'll likely play on your own stage with your own character theme going, oh, as you Axl Bomber someone into oblivion during stops time. Chipp Zanuff. Like Millia players, you like combos and cross-ups, but you really like cross-ups. You will almost always 6H in neutral, and the opponent will almost always get counter hit by it. Despite being a rushdown character, you actually tend to play better neutral than Soul or Geo players. For the longest time, you pushed the narrative that Chipp was bad because of his low health and would cite Nago v Chipp Twitter clips as your evidence. However, now that tournament results are out, you can no longer deny that your character is oppressive as hell and probably high tier at worst. You know that 2K spam in the corner is just as dumb as it looks. Although you have an invincible meterless reversal, you are usually deathly afraid to use it, as a bait could result in you getting popped like a zit. You either have an unhealthy obsession with ninjas, or you are an adrenaline junkie who enjoys cheating death as a condition to playing your character. Ino. Out of all the waifu mains, you are definitely the horniest. You either main Ino in Exard or saw the video of her English dub saying, "Be my bottom bitch," and got a little bit too excited. Your character lost a lot of stuff in this game, so you have devolved into constantly air dashing into double overhead 2D Oki mix-ups. Stroke the big tree is your neutral option of choice when not close enough to air dash into someone, and until someone learns to block, check the startup of it, or punish it, you will continually do block strings into it, leading to a frustrating experience for an unprepared opponent. Your character is actually fairly honest in this game, and does not place high on tier lists, but there are people who insist your character is cheap because your supers are really good, and stroke the big tree is extremely annoying. May. Despite the fact that at the moment it is almost universally agreed upon that your character is top 3, you will still argue that your character isn't easy because she has charge inputs, and that Totsugeki spam isn't cheap because Slash Dolphin is -5 and you, quote, lose your turn. You have nearly rammed J/ levels of privilege on your disjointed ass normals, and your J2H is almost as hard to anti-air as Chipp J2K. You take on the personage of this adorable little girl to disguise your hatred and bloodlust towards mankind and your personal mission to make everyone else suffer. If you are in a car with other FGC peeps and someone hands you the aux cord, there is a 99% chance that you will start blasting her theme at the highest volume possible. Your favorite theme park of all time is SeaWorld. Potemkin. You like big guys and even bigger numbers. You have impeccable patience and will proceed to win entire rounds off of single interactions by punishing one mistake by your opponent. Either that, or you are the type that just mega fists or hammer falls at round start. You hate Geo Far Slash even more than everyone else does because it beats all your armored moves. You didn't know what a Kara cancel was until Guilty Gear Strive, and now you have labbed out and optimized pretty much every way to set up Kara Buster. If you're an old time pot main, Garuda Impact is probably your new best friend. Now that the beta is over, you claim that this cheap ass character is dead just because he's not top 1 anymore. He's not. You guys will be fine. Kiske. You are an honest, upstanding person whose favorite meal is probably white bread with a side of water. You are either a fighting game veteran who is picking up Strive and saw similarities to Ryu, or you are a new member of the FGC who is picking up Strive and saw similarities to Ryu. You trust in hit confirms in the way that an elderly evangelical trusts in Christ, and your ability to place your normals is on point. Your character doesn't have anything particularly cheap like most of the cast, so your fundamentals are generally stronger. You will probably whiff punish and break wall with Ride the Lightning at least twice per game, and the opponent will get salty. You also enjoy throwing your opponent into heavy fireball gulag after a back throw in the corner, wherein they will also get salty. You really hate that ArcSys gave you Dragon installed just for it to be almost completely impractical to use. Millia Rage. Personal main right here, so get ready for some bias. You are pretty quick-witted, but also pretty scatterbrained, which is probably why you picked Millia. You gain sadistic pleasure from constantly looping someone inside the hair blender of doom, knowing they basically can't do anything about it but guess right. You put your all into your disc mix-ups because you feel you have no choice but to try and keep your opponent in the blender, lest you be forced onto the defense and have to use Millia's less than par options there. You die a little inside every time someone disrespects a heavy disc setup and it results in them guessing right or DPing out of it. Your character actually has pretty good neutral, but you usually skip it anyways by jumping and dashing about 50 times. So when you get popped by an anti-air by someone who knows the matchup, you claim that you've been counterpicked. You know that your character is fairly strong and you don't necessarily think she needs any buffs, but you're frustrated by the Lust Shaker nerfs and you wish it could at least have its plus frames back. Axl and Nago players are your mortal enemies, and your best friend and favorite matchup is with the Eno main. Lastly, when it comes to TNA, you're definitely on Team A. Ramlethal. You either play this character because waifu or you play this character because dog. You constantly attempt to fish for a sword throw and spontaneously combust someone against the wall. You will also die on the hill that there is more to Ram than just spamming JS, but then you run the set and that's about 90% of what we see you do. You are trying to figure out a way to justify JS and // doing about half off of a random hit from full screen is fair, so people will stop placing your character in top 5. You almost definitely have a pocket character somewhere because your own gameplay loop bores you so much that even Kai is more interesting by comparison. You have one of the single best buttons in the entire game, but probably the worst theme song, so it evens out, right? Giovanna. You either play this character because waifu or you play this character because dog. Geo players are usually newer Guilty Gear players who exploit everyone else's wish to ever take their turn back. You were probably disappointed when Geo's moveset didn't turn out to directly involve the dog very much. For a character whose theme song states "don't be fake," Geo players run amok with the fakest plus frame resets ever and get away with it. Many of your character's infinite plus frame block streams can be answered with a swift 6p to the face, but your opponent doesn't know that and you're not about to tell them, are you, you dirty son of a goat? Like Ram JS, 90% of most Geo players' neutral game is to throw their best button into someone at random, this being // in Geo's case, which is active enough for you guys to go swiftly craft a bologna sandwich before deciding your next button. Despite the fact that your character is meant to be easy, skilled Geo players understand her depth and probably have a way to wall splat you from anywhere on the screen off of any random juggle. You know that Geo's DP doesn't have any invincibility, but you use it as a reversal anyways and pray to get a counter hit conversion. You are liable to make your opponent rage quit when you snuff their well-timed 6p with a dive kick super. You are probably an animal person. Faust. You knew going into this game that this character sucked, but you didn't care. You were going to play crackhead Dr. Man, and I respect you for that. People have berated and put down your main, even going so far as to say that's not Faust, that's Loust, with myself included. But despite the naysayers, you guys just want to have fun and play your character. When you manage to defeat someone playing a top tier, you feel a sense of gratification unlike any other. You don't even want Faust to be buffed, but if they decided to make it so that Trumpet is an auto given to your opponent, you would take it in a heartbeat. Despite what everyone says, your character actually has some really decent people playing him in tournament, and no one knows or labs this matchup anyways, so you go Faust players and show them what this could be. Zato 1. You, along with your cousin the Axl main, probably saw a JoJo association and picked this character up because of it. You, however, decided to take the JoJo reference a bit further by playing a character that is quite literally a stand user. You enjoy extensive labbing and put a lot of work into learning your character. You are always trying to plan and calculate different ways to use Eddie, and whenever you don't have Eddie, your entire plan tends to go awry and you end up with your face in the wall because you didn't practice defending with just Zato and your character has no reversal. You actually do have a big brain, and you think up a lot of answers to different situations just for the opponent to adhere to none of them and for you to get randomed out. Zato players are focused, hard-thinking people. You, however, are confused as to why the character select screen reads Zato 1 instead of Eddie, considering the fact that Eddie is the true main character. Your favorite fighting game is probably JoJo Heritage for the Future, and you were hyped to find a character that can do some of the same BS that's possible in that game. Leo Whitefang. You probably thought this character was bad until you saw Sonic Fox using him, and now you enjoy playing a character that can turn the blender on by pressing a single button. You are quite possibly the only player on this list that can contest the Chipp main's love of oppressive ass cross-ups and overheads. You are also quite possibly the most unga of all the DP characters in this game because of the fact that yours resist cross-ups, and you will often throw entire games away because you got used to DPing out of whatever Oki option your opponent chose, just for them to finally decide to bait you and block. You are annoyed at being grabbed out of Brynhildr dash, but you appreciate Leo getting a command grabbing stance now because your burst damage wasn't good enough already. You have the best and possibly the most versatile projectiles in the game, but only like 2 of you guys know how to do anything with them outside of throwing them out in neutral and trying to dash behind them. You also think that Brynhildr's projectile super has totally fair and balanced damage. Your favorite character in Dragon Ball is probably Vegeta. Nagoryuki. When the beta dropped and you saw the videos of this character one-shotting Chipps, you knew you had to try him. Either that or you're just stoked to see an actually well-designed black character in a Japanese fighting game. You, like the Potemkin player, also trade life as a resource for being able to end the game in one interaction. The only difference is that Nago players do it with a complete and utter disregard for their own safety. Whenever your blood rage pops and it's to your benefit, you will act like it was well thought out, calculated management of resources. But when you forget to manage your blood meter and are forced into blood rage unexpectedly, you will begin to vent about how difficult this character is to play and how blood rage holds him back. Your character is one of the most explosive in the game, and you are no different, going from slowly walking and meticulously poking people on the other side of the screen to them spamming specials right into the opponent's face the moment you get any kind of opening. The moment you touch your opponent, they immediately regret their life choices, and you take pride in that. Any character that wants to jump or air dash ever hates your guts because your 2H negates their entire game plan. Your relationship with Axl mains is very complicated. You are probably a Kizzy K fan. Soul Badguy. I don't even know what to say about you Soul mains. Like, part of me just wanted to put, we get it, you like / here, and then leave it at that. But part of me was also like, that would reflect poorly on me as a writer. You guys aren't even playing the same game as everyone else. We're all playing Strive, and you guys apparently didn't get the memo because you're still playing Exard. You guys like 5K, your DP, your absurd damage, and your easy bake frame trap. And /. You really like /, don't you? You aren't even like the rest of the people on this list who made top tiers and downplay, because you know there's no way to diminish the fact that your character is top 1. Many of you aren't even tier whores. You probably played Exard or saw the Exard combos and decided to play Soul because he kept the most of his sauce in the generational shift and you found everyone else too limited. That, or you use this faultless character to patch the holes in your own inadequacies and gain some inkling of feeling like you can be good at the game. The concept of ever having to play a real character makes you cringe, and you will probably quit the game when Soul eventually gets nerfed and you can no longer be carried by your protagonist's plot armor. Hey, look at that, you made it to the end of the video. Appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're here. You already watched the entire video anyways, you may as well. Also, I do a lot of streaming on Twitch. I play Strive and a bunch of other fighting games as well as some random stuff that I just feel like playing. So pay me a visit over there at twitch.tv/JohnnyTheFlash. Also, thank you to all the people who supplied the replay data or their footage for me to compile this video together. I don't really have anything else other than that, guys, so I'll see you later. Peace.